What it do, Kaizoku Crew? It's your boy, Kaizoku Ice. Guys, this past weekend has been insane in the One Piece trading card game. It's almost hard at this point to keep track of everything that's been going on, but we saw a massive, insane buyout this past weekend on TCGplayer. In particular, in today's videos, I'm only going to be talking about SPs, but we saw buyouts across the board with booster boxes, a couple of mangas, and it's been insane. The floor price for a lot of these cards has more than doubled in only 1 week. And my first thought is, what is going on? Is this even real? How is this sustainable? But there is an exact reason why I personally believe why these prices have gone up tremendously, and that is because there was Cyber Weekend this past weekend on TCGplayer, where, as you guys can see here, starting from November 28th all the way till December 1st, everyone will receive 10% in-store credit on all products purchased. So what that means is a lot of people were incentivized to spend a lot of money on these cards because you're getting 10% back. I mean, even myself, I was buying cards this past weekend because 10%, that's hard to pass up on, right? When you think about it, you spend $1,000, 10% of that, you get $100 in store credit. You could buy a lot of cards with that. So I think people have the same mindset. They basically, saved their money and spent all of it this past weekend for the Cyber Weekend sale. And it caused a lot of these cards to almost double in price. Miss All Sunday right here, guys. I think I made a video about this card, like PSA 10. Like, I have one right here. I'm pretty sure I bought mine for maybe like $120, $150 after shipping and tax. And the fact that the raw price right now is $260, that is literally insane. You guys know I love this card. I have a clear thesis on why I think this card's going to do well. But the fact, if you look here on View More Data, if you look at this card about a week ago, on 11/23, it was $127, right? And then starting on Cyber Weekend, there was huge buyouts, right? $200 right here, $275, $260, $260, $274, and people are just buying this card because it was the best time to buy it. You're getting 10% back. Why would you not buy this card if there's an opportunistic time to buy this card, right? Because of Cyber Weekend. So that made this card just go insane, and there's only 9 listings right now. The lowest listing actually is $245. And what people are asking me in the DMs, they were basically saying, okay, Kaizoku Ice, clearly there are buyouts. Should I now buy at this new floor price? And my personal opinion is no. Because to me, perception is not reality. The perception is with a lot of these cards, in particular with this one, we see a 2x in price, and you guys are thinking, okay, I don't want to get left behind. I might have FOMO if I never buy this card. This card could go, if it already 2x'd in 1 week, what's stopping it from 2xing in the next week, all the way to $500, right? But I do not think that this is the reality of this card. I think that it was basically pumped, and every card I'm going to talk about in today's video was pumped because there was a 10% store credit being offered for all these cards, right? And people were mainly targeting, from what I've seen, booster boxes and SPs. Because with mangas, for example, on TCGplayer, you can't really look at the card if it's not already listed here. Like with this listing, they posted pictures of the cards, so you can see and make a educated decision on if this is a card you want to buy, right? But with other ones, you can't. So if I'm trying to buy a manga on TCGplayer and the manga prices are about $1,000 now per raw card, well then I'm not going to do it because that's too expensive. But for example, if Miss All Sunday was only $130 last week, well, I'm willing to bite the bullet and pay $130, not knowing what the card looks like, if I'm going to get 10% back afterwards. It's a little bit safer of a play, right? So seems like a lot of SPs are being bought out. Miss All Sunday, for example. Let's look at Jewelry Bonnie right here. $245 today. If you look at it for the past week, starting, let's see, on the 28th. Yeah, look here, guys. On the 28th, $136. You guys can just look at the numbers. It just continued to be bought out this past weekend. We reached $180 2 days after the 28th. And then we had a $200 sale just today on the 1st. And now, right, the lowest listed is $245. And we're going to see this trend for all of the cards I talk about, but you guys saw a literal 2x in the floor price. And guys, please, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, because I'm just going to be covering pretty much the same stuff for the rest of the video, please do not fall for these floor prices currently. I mean, we saw a huge bot for a lot of these cards, as you guys saw when I clicked view more data. And all that means is that these listings here, I'm assuming, are legacy listings. They haven't changed and they've been there for a while. And I'm pretty sure that as long as people start listing their prices or listing their cards once again here, this week and in the near future, this will start to go down. Because I don't think that, although we love Bonnie, not in that way, not going to jail, but we love Bonnie, but $245 for SP Bonnie, that feels a little bit ridiculous to me. I think that this card is more realistically about $150 to $200, but $245 is pretty nuts. So when you guys are buying this week and you're looking at some of these prices, just look at the view more data and see what the price history for this card is before you make any crazy decision, right? So let's move to Yamato, SP from OP05. Click view more data. Let's see what it was about a week ago. So it was 160. Oh, actually, no, only 119 on 11/24. And then leading up into Cyber Weekend, we started to get some buyouts. It went up to 162. We see some buyouts here for 200, 160. Wow, someone bought it today for $300. That is crazy. You guys know I made a video about how I thought OP05 SPs were, pretty underrated overall, but $300 raw for Yamato, that feels quite expensive, honestly. I think there's better SPs out there that I would spend $300 on. Realistically, this is not a $233 floor. I actually feel bad for the person that bought this for $300 because, yeah, I mean, if you bought it for $300 because there's no other listings here, immediately after you see here, $233 and $245 have been listed. So I think that's going to be a similar trend for a lot of these cards, is that people are seeing these new inflated floor prices, and they're going to think, oh, wow, like, I want to undercut that now. If the floor price, when that guy bought this card for, what was it, $299, he probably thought, oh, wow, like, this is the lowest because $299 was the floor price, and you compare that to $334 here, that's a deal. I'm saving $30 off of this new floor price, right? Well, if you waited like a couple of hours, you see now the floor price is $233. I think you're going to see that with, literally, for example, with Miss All Sunday and with Julia Bonnie. I think that these cards should go back down about the $200 floor price, if not lower than that, because 2x in literally 1 week is almost mind-boggling, right? It's pretty insane. So moving along, Uta SP from OP05. Let's just look at the view more data. So it was on 11/28, $150. We saw some buyouts. Oh, actually, this one, PSA 10 sold for $250. That's actually not a horrible price, honestly. 12/1. So today it sold for $250. So once again, it went up. That's $100 from the floor price before Cyber Weekend. And yeah, the floor is very thin for a lot of these cards, right? There's only 11 listings, the lowest being 248. I also see this going back down kind of below 200. Actually, though, I take a step back. I think Uta could probably stay maybe above the $200 price point because Uta is a very popular character. I think that this Uta SP is better than the Uta SP that we're going to get in EB03 and the Heroine set. So I think that this is actually a pretty decent card. Maybe not $250 raw, maybe more like the $200 price point. So also, I just remembered, I forgot to mention this at the start of the video. Hopefully you guys are still watching, but at the card show that I went to, guys, it is clear as day what people are buying. Every booth that I went to, mainly the Pokemon vendors, because I wanted to get a good feel for the market. I obviously know One Piece TCG extremely well, but I also want to know Pokemon so I can just make better and more educated calls about the overall collectible market. But when I was talking to people that vended Pokemon, they basically asked me, because they knew I was a One Piece guy, they were saying, hi, do you have SPs or mangas? I will buy all SPs and mangas and some treasure rares, right? And it made me laugh because it seems like word is getting out that essentially if you buy these cards not graded or raw, right? Raw cards of SPs and mangas, you basically just buy as much as you can, grade them, and you instantly 2x the price of your card, right? So people were literally cashing out thousands for raw SPs and raw mangas because, literally just you grade them. PSA typically, 90% PSA 10 rate for the One Piece trading card game. Why would you not just buy raw for half the price, grade it, and you see the card double in price? And actually, I can probably make another video about that another time about how I think Pokemon's going to affect the One Piece market. And I also think that raw cards and PSA 10 cards, I don't think there should be a huge gap. I don't think it should be a 2x because historically, PSA 10s are pretty easy to grade in the One Piece trading card game. But long story short, the reason why I think that there are huge buyouts for SPs right now on TCG Player is because there are a lot of new people in the hobby doing exactly what I just said. Buying SPs and mangas, buying them raw, and praying to hit the PSA 10, which 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get the PSA 10. All of a sudden, your SP Uta that you bought for $200 is now $400 in the PSA 10, and you just made $200 profit. That seems to be the name of the game here, and that is why we're seeing these huge buyouts for SPs in particular. Moving along, Nami. I just talked about this card, guys. You guys know how much I love this card. The floor price back then was not $400. Let's just look. 11, 20. Yeah, I mean, it was $237 about a week ago. Right before Cyber Weekend, it was $300. And then during Cyber Weekend, we had some sales of $450. We have one for $300. And yeah, $430 is the most, actually, yeah, $400 is the most recent sale for this card, right? I mean, I like this card at $250. I don't think I like this card at $424. That feels high, even though, in my opinion, this is the best Nami SP in the trading card game because of the vibrant colors on it and the texturing and the fireworks, then Zeus in the back. Like, this card, oh, and of course, Otama, right? But this is quite high. I mean, I think that there should be a very high floor for Nami SP cards in general, but this just feels extremely high, man. I mean, you guys already know what I'm about to say with these. I mean, low amount of cards in population here on TCG Player, so people are setting their prices, yada, yada, yada. But I do think that this card will definitely regress back, definitely under $400. I can't foresee this going up to $500. If it does, then I think I probably need to make a separate video altogether about where I think the market's going to go, because at that point, we are just going past the point of no return at that point, and almost every single card is going to be out of everyone's budget. I mean, my budget in particular. So, moving along, guys, this one right here, the Luffy SP from OP13 was doing moves this past weekend. Man, like, as you guys see, like, this card got bought out so many times compared to the other ones I just talked about. So let's just go, starting on 11/22, so a week ago, is $200. And it more or less stayed at that $200 price point for a while. But then starting on Cyber Weekend on 11/28, you start to see it is just going up, right? It just keeps going up. We're hitting 235, 266. We went back down to 220 here. And then we just keep going up, man. As I keep scrolling upwards here, it goes up to 237, 275, 275, 256. 280 is the most recent sale for this card. So the fact that, you know, it went from about $200 last week all the way to $300 floor price here, up $100 in a week. I mean, we know that it is a Luffy market. Luffy cards do well, and this is an SP from OP13, which is a great set, but it is still hard for me to justify $100 price increase in this Luffy card in about one a week. I actually think there are better Luffy SPs out there, hint, hint, that you guys should probably be putting your money into because, I mean, they're just better. They're just a lot better. So this is crazy to see, guys, man. This Cyber Weekend really did a number on the floor prices. So once again, as a friendly reminder, guys, please do not get suckered in with these floor prices. I don't think that they are real. And yeah, just be patient, guys. Be patient. We have the Ace SP. This card actually didn't do crazy increases during the Cyber Weekend sale. If you look at it, about a week ago is $190, and then during Cyber Weekend, we had some sales at $218, $220, and then most recently $215. But I mean, guys, like, yeah, this one didn't move up too much at all, which makes me happy because it kind of shows that this card wasn't bought out too much, and like I'm pretty okay with this card at. Actually, no, let me take a step back. I'm pretty sure at one point this card about a month ago was only like $150 to $100. Actually, let me just go back, click view more data here and see. Oh, guys, I didn't realize half the freaking video I couldn't even see the prices. Hopefully, you guys, man, y'all gotta let me know in the comments next time, man. That's my fault. That's my fault. Anyways, now that we can see the price, if you look at the prices about, let's see, 11/6, $100, and then on 12/1, so less than 30 days later, it has doubled in price. I mean, it is clear as day this card has been bought out. I'm assuming maybe because of the live action, maybe people, because we got news of Ace Ace is casting in the live action, maybe people are kind of leveraging their bet on Ace and buying this card because besides the manga Ace, this is the best. Actually, no, this is the second best Ace card in my opinion. I don't want to tell you my favorite Ace card because keeping it a secret, but this is a great Ace card for sure. And it is nice to see that in the past week, at least, it hasn't doubled in price, but it has doubled in the past month. So it kind of does make me wary for this card because it definitely has been pumped already. Ooh, now we're going to one of my favorite Namis, also the Nami from OP05. The fact that this card is the same price as the Onami, I'm guessing it seems that people are starting to realize that Onami is also a very great card, or in my opinion, equal, if not better, than the SP Nami here. Maybe because people are kind of afraid because the population count for this card in the PSA 10 is almost 2,000, whereas the other Namis are a little bit lower, but I'm not sure. If you look at the prices here, yeah, I mean, on 11/28, $325. We had some huge buyouts, as you guys can see, and then $400 on 11/30. So it doesn't seem like anyone bought this card at the... Oh, wait. There's one for $273 right here. This feels like a pretty fair floor price, I will say, because, actually, no, wait, let me go back. Wait, am I tripping? I feel like this was a lot lower when I made my video last week. Oh, no, okay, it was consistently around like a $270 price point. So, okay, so it looks like the actual price right here, I guess a new seller popped up out of nowhere, and they're listing it for $273. Actually, let me see. Guys, once again, we do this live. Let me see if I can add to cart. Actually, it's not available. So this card, actually, this is a ghost sale, which does happen on TCG Player. So I just got baited there. But so it does seem like the floor price here is actually $426 currently, which that means that the price almost doubled in the past week. You guys know how I feel about this card. I do like it at almost $400 raw. Currently, the floor price. It feels high, but I could argue that this card deserves to be here because it is the first Nami SP, and OP05 is an expensive set. So there is possibility for this card being this price point. So this might be the new reality. It'll be hard to say, though. I think I'll need to keep an eye on this one for the next couple of weeks and see, what this kind of settles at. But I think I'd lean towards this card's floor price going lower, maybe in the $3 to $350 range. I think is probably more appropriate for this card. Okay, now we've got, I think it's almost everyone's favorite Nami. I know why. This Nami is fantastic. We all know that. But $950 floor price right now. That is insanity. I think this is the first raw card, not including the pre-errata cards from OP01, that reached $1,000. And mangas too. So non-pre-errata romance on and non-manga card that reached $1,000. That is pretty insane, man. It doesn't seem like anyone bought it at that floor price. So I would warn you guys not to look at this video right now or look at on TCG Player and be like, oh, it's $950 right now. It does seem like, oh, I guess we had some sales for $750 here. So we had this kind of been all over the place. So starting on 11/28, it was $500. We had a sale of $750 on 11/30. Crazy. And then we had one of, this is lightly played, so $550. We had a sale of $500 on 12/1. And then, wow, lightly played foil for $600. Yeah, honestly, I don't even know what to expect with this card. This card is all over the place. This is one of the most volatile cards I've seen in a while. But regardless, $950 floor price is way too high. I cannot see this card being $1,000 raw in the next month. Maybe in a year, I could argue that this card should be $1,000, especially if OP09 continues to see the rise that we're seeing currently. But on December 1st, 2025, $1,000 raw is way too high for this card. I have a feeling that, there's literally only 2 listings here. So I do think that once we get some more listings, it will probably go back down around that $500 to $700 price point. I feel comfortable buying this card at $500 raw. But yeah, definitely not $950. That is insane. Okay, moving along, Boa Hancock SP. I love this card. I think it is actually pretty fair at this price point, 407. Actually, I'm curious, can I buy this right now? Ooh, okay. Okay, well, Cyber Weekend ended, but $400 is not a bad price for this card in my opinion because the PSA 10 price for this card is about $1,000. So 407 Actually, this is a floor right here because 407, then the next one's 748. As I said earlier, I do think that we're going to see a similar thing for all these cards I talked about and other ones I didn't talk about. They've been all bought out, but now people are, the dust is settling and people are going to start listing their cards. And they're not going to list it for those crazy new floor prices. They're going to list it more towards the floor prices that we saw before Cyber Weekend. If you look at the view more data, yeah, this card was kind of consistently selling around that like $450, $500 price point. So, $400 is actually a steal. I think I need to buy this after this video. Ooh, I wasn't expecting to buy any cars today, but this might be the play. Hopefully this seller Pool Planet, 60%. Maybe I don't buy this card anymore. If anyone of the Kaizoku Crew watches this video and ends up buying this card, let me know, because I don't think I'm going to buy it anymore. That's low-key sus. Anyways, BOA SP from OP09, $619 floor currently. Let's look at the buyouts. Yeah, about a week ago it was $375, and then we got buyouts this weekend. You guys know the drill. So it got bought out pretty consistently at that $600 price point, which is kind of shocking to me. I think that this card is definitely more like a $400 card because I think that this BOA SP is better than this one. But I think this card has two big reasons that have it, two big reasons that why people like this card as compared to this one. Actually, this has some pretty good reasons too. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, I think that this one's a lot better than this one, but this one's floor price is a lot higher. But maybe it's because OP09 is a little bit more expensive of a set than OP04. But I like anything from 2023. Not financial advice. Kind of lean towards this one. Anyways, we're almost done here. Went over a lot of the higher price cards, but even the lower price cards, for example, this Queen, nobody really cares for Queen like that, but we saw some insane buyouts, right? Like a week ago, starting on Cyber Weekend, it was $27, right? And that it was bought out a lot this past weekend. And it went as high as $50. Yeah, $53 today on 12/1. And now the lowest price, 34, 0%. Can I add this to cart? Yeah, okay. So that one's a ghost listing too. So the floor price is now $50. I don't hate it, actually. I do think that SPs in general should probably have a floor price of about like $40 to $50. So, even though it's Queen and nobody really cares for Queen like that, and I can justify it being $50. I really could. But it has 2x in about a week, so it's a little hard to say. But I don't think I hate $50 here. And then the big one for me here is Okiku. Nobody really cares for Okiku. I do like this card though because it has what is this? Inarashi, Raizo, Izo, and Kinemon. So we got 5-in-1 on the card. But this card was consistently going for about $20, right? If you look at the history, $11, $28, $26, $25, $28, and then more recently today, $69, $69. Anyways, this card has spiked up a lot, right? $75 is the lowest price now. There's only 4 listings, so this is, once again, probably, in my opinion, a legacy posting. I don't think this is a $75 card, although I do love the card. I think it looks great. But I think this is more realistically the same price as Queen, probably like $50. So it'll be interesting to see once people start listing their Okikus, how much this floor price goes lower. And that's pretty much the end of today's video. I don't have any other card I want to talk about. But long story short, guys, do not get misled by these floor prices. In my opinion, I think they are artificial. Please just wait a little bit. Cyber Weekend just ended, so I don't think we're going to see a lot of sales today and throughout the rest of the week because there's no incentive anymore. So, take it easy. I don't need to see any more panic DMs saying, Kaizoku Ice, I'm afraid because I think it's going to 2x again. I'm telling you guys right now, I really don't think that it's going to 2x again in the next week. There's just no incentive to buy on tcgplayer at least. And there might be incentive for other reasons, which I'll have to make another video another time, but why I think we might actually be heading even higher potentially. I know recently I said that the market, I think, will go a little bit lower in the short term, but it seems like market is not cooling down. It seems like we are having a lot of fun actually in the One Piece trading card game. So let us see. It's always fun doing these market watch videos, but don't get tricked by these floor prices. Just wait about a week. I think things will settle down in the near future. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I am Kaizoku Ice. Stay cool, stay chill. I'll catch you guys on the next video.